Today we're talking about the CPI inflation report, which just dropped like a hot potato that nobody wants. Let's find out why this potato is actually a grenade. I'm Tom Wilson, and this is the news. Inflation. It's like that one guest at your party who not only refuses to leave, but also sneezes in the potato chips. This month, the CPI report shows inflation has gone up again. Surprise, surprise. Here's a quick rundown. January gave us a 3.1% inflation rate. Not great, not terrible, just terrible enough. And February said, hold my beer, and hit 3.2%, which is higher if I'm not mistaken. And March, not wanting to be outdone, proudly presents 3.5%. Let's check in live to see how the stock market has reacted to the CPI report. And do you remember the Fed's target inflation? A cool 2%. We're so far off target, I'm starting to think their dartboard is in another room. Here's an exclusive interview I had with Fed Chair Jerome Powell. Jerome, your thoughts on the new CPI report? Well, as you can see, we've never made a mistake, and the reason you can't afford anything is your own fault. Right, so printing 80% of all the US dollars since 2020 is our fault. Well, let's check in on our Fed Up meter. Core inflation is stuck at 3.8%, unchanged and unchallenged. Kind of like my uncle's opinions at Thanksgiving. But why is this so disastrous? Well, because the Fed was actually hoping to cut interest rates to make borrowing more affordable. Instead, they might need to actually raise them, which is like trying to put out a fire with vodka. Energy prices are up 2.1%. That's a U-turn from previous declines. It's like energy prices took a wrong exit on the highway and decided to keep driving just to see where it goes. And food prices still rising at 2.2%. I toasted no change. But even the toast costs more now. Shelter costs up by 5.7%, and at this rate, homes will soon only be affordable in outer space. SpaceX, I'm looking at you for real estate opportunities. Service inflation? Yep, it's up too, because why not join the party? Everything else is going up, might as well throw services in there too. It's an inflation fiesta. So the big question, how will the Fed cool this hot economy? Jerome Powell might as well start fanning it with something, otherwise we are gonna be hanging around with higher interest rates for a lot longer. And now, for the betting folks, the odds of interest rate cuts are dropping faster than the hopes of Gen Z to ever be able to actually afford a house. Because the odds are now down to a 2% chance for a rate cut in May, a 21% cut in June, and a 43% chance for a cut in July. And remember, earlier this year, Jerome Powell said that we would be potentially cutting rates up to 3 different times this year. Do you think that's even still possible with inflation ramping back up? I don't know, maybe not. But thanks CPI report for always keeping it interesting. And remember, every time the CPI report comes out, an economist gets their wings or loses their mind, one of the two. I'm Tom Wilson, and that was the news.